Let's talk about the difference between presets and scenes. There are over 500 presets on the Axe FX3, and within each preset, there are 8 predefined scenes. I think of it like this. A preset is like an entire rig in itself. If you look at this preset here, I've got a wah, phaser, and drive in that order before my amp. Then I've got a delay and a reverb. So the current sound that I've got set up at the moment, I could play some rock rhythm guitar with. Now, let's say I wanted to switch to a guitar solo where I turn the drive block on, the delay block on, and the reverb in front of this amp. Now, I could do that using, say, an FC controller and turn each of those blocks on individually and do a bit of tap dancing. Or what I could do is I could go, hey, you know what? I'll turn them all on and I'll save it as another preset. So I'll go preset, save to new preset number. Notice I've got those blocks on, and I'm going to overwrite this one here, 2203B. So what we'll do now is we'll rename this one. I'll just call it B again. And on this particular preset now, when I play, I've got the drive, delay, and reverb on. So if I was performing, I could just switch between those two presets for my rhythm sound and my lead sound. One other reason I might like switching between presets is, say in this example, I've got a phaser before the drive. In my other preset, for example, I could go through and have, instead of a phaser, like a different modulation effect, like a chorus. This is useful if you're using basically the same preset, but with some different effect combinations for different songs. Say, on this particular preset, you're playing a Michael Schenker group song, and you want that phaser in front for whatever. I don't know if Michael Schenker ever used a phaser. But then you want the same basic amp and cab sound over here, but you wanted, you didn't want any of these blocks to turn on, but instead of a phaser, you want a rotary speaker or something. So a totally different block. You can do that really easily. And then in that place, you could assign that to the same foot switch on your FC controller. And you basically think of it as like, oh, cool, there's my modulation section, there's my drive section. So that's one way to think about presets. And that's if I was playing a whole set where I needed very specific sounds per song, I would approach it like that. However, you can live in one preset for a whole gig as well using scenes. Let's try to recreate what I did by turning, say, in scene 1, this is going to be my main rhythm guitar sound. And then scene 2, I'm going to kick on the drive, the delay, and the reverb. It's like having, say, a pedal board with a built-in MIDI switcher. And if I save that, then I can go from scene 1 and play my rhythm guitar and move over to scene 2 and play my lead. Another advantage of using scenes is, say, I wanted a variation of that lead scene where I don't want this particular drive pedal. I want, say, a fuzz. What I'll do is I'm going to copy this scene to scene 3, and we'll move over to scene 3. This is a really cool feature of the Axe FX3 now where we can make use of the channels. Say, instead of being on channel D of this drive block, I can go, say, to channel A, which is, in this case, I've set it up as a fuzz phase. So this is the same type of effect. It's a drive block. It's different from what we did before, where, say, we changed the phaser in the preset to a rotary speaker. So it's still the same type of block, but I can have a different effect type on here. So on scene 3 now, it's going to be a fuzzy lead. Have a listen. And you can see there that I've got these 3 scenes with 3 different guitar sounds with the channels changing. So essentially, scenes let you automate what you would otherwise need to do a whole bunch of tap dancing with. Let's say I wanted a clean sound on this preset without having to change to a totally new preset. Let's say go to scene 4. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to change the channel on the amp block. So this isn't like, say I had a real world amp that had 2 channels, like it was, I don't know, some kind of split channel JCM 800 with a clean channel and a dirty channel. This is actually totally different. If I go to channel B, I can choose any other amp that I like. Say I wanted that rhythm sound with my JCM 800, and then over here, I want a deluxe reverb for my clean sound. I can do that. Let's have a listen. And I want my phaser and my reverb on. So what we can do now, have a look at the amp block. If I go to scene 1, it's my JCM 800. Scene 4, though, is a Fender. So scenes, personally, I use all the time when I'm gigging because they let me keep this same layout, like it's the same set of effects, they're all in the same place, but I can have different predetermined settings on each of them, which I think is pretty awesome. However, if I wanted to basically have, say you're doing a cover gig where you've got 40 different songs that you're playing, one thing you can do is, say for this preset, you sort of go, okay, cool, I've got my wah, I've got my filtery thing, I've got my modulating thing, I've got my distorting thing, I've got an amp and a cab, I've got some kind of time-based delay here, and I've got some kind of reverb here. What you can do is you can save this preset as a template. This is a really handy feature, so I'll save it just as its preset name. Then what I could do is I could go through, I could set up 40 different presets, all with the same layout, and say I needed a different modulation on every single one, or a different type of drive on every single one. That way, you could just have a preset per song, but within the song, you can have up to 8 predetermined variations of that rig. So a preset is like an entire rig in of itself, and then a scene is like some kind of predetermined configuration of all the elements that make up that rig. Hopefully that makes sense, and if you've got your Axe effects in front of you, I would encourage you to play around with scenes and with presets and find out what is going to work best for you and your needs.